All right, I've set up a little whiteboard for Wex. I've got quite a few of his pictures on here, like loads of bits and bobs here. So I thought I'd just very, very quickly go over these x-rays with you so that you can see what's going on. So first and foremost, you can see that this capsule doesn't look very relaxed. And even though we have this long toe on this one, you can see that the capsule looks more relaxed. He's not loading on this left fore, so P3 isn't in its exact position. We don't know really what the tip of P3 looked like when he was in the shoe because we couldn't see it, but we can now. But that's okay. That's not too bad. There's a tiny bit of remodeling, but in fact, I think he's also got a crenna in there, which is usually why you see that almost double tip going on in there. This gas line that you see here is this one that's up here, which is now growing out. It's got no bearing on anything. What we're looking at now is we're looking at this new hoof wall that's growing in without a gas line. Because if we look at the left fore, originally that gas line went right the way up to the coronary groove, which is this very faint line you can see here. So it was pulling the heels being up here were basically keeping these laminae very separated. And that's all grown out. You can see that's all gone. That doesn't exist anymore. This is his coronary groove that's in here. So he hasn't, there's the coronary groove. That's the shoulder of the coronary groove. So there is nothing there now. So this is all looking good. The angles look like they're the same. They're not. I'm going to show you that in a second. But everything is looking perfect. And if you look at the sole depth, which again is really difficult to see because you've got shoe there, you can see he's gained sole depth, which is why he's a ton more comfortable now. And there may be a little bit of heel in the future, but there might not be, in fact, because he's not properly loading there anyway. So that'll be another reason why we're not seeing the true foot. But let's just quickly look here and let's just fade from one to the other. So you can see, let me just blow that up so I can see that a little bit more. Is that better? Oh, hello. So that's what he is now. And that's what he was. Look at various things. So look at this heel here. Look what happens. Do you see the heel bulbs? Look what happens. And as that happens, P3 derotates as we lower the heels. As Jan lowers the heels, you guys lowers the heels. It derotates. Look at that. And it just gets put into a more comfortable position so he's not marching around on the tip. Now, it doesn't look like it's in line. That's because he's not loading. All right. So in actual fact, that would be a little less than that. The angle wouldn't be as steep as that if he was loading properly. But that is a lovely change. And it's enough for him to feel very much more comfortable with. That's great. And that long toe, well, that doesn't matter because that's growing out with all of that separation that was in there. And he hasn't got any, by the looks of it, growing in. Coming in. All right, so now we've got his right fore. Again, you can see that gas line, and then you can see that gas line growing out. So that's where we've got separation between the dermal and the epidermal, where it's been stretched. And that was originally all the way up to that shoulder of the coronary groove. You can see it there. And then when we go over here, we can see the shoulder of the coronary groove, and it's all looking healthy and fine in there. And yet we look down here and we can see all of that damage now growing out. We can see a really good halo coming in at the top here. That's that dark translucent area, which means everything in that sublamellar dermis is looking nice and healthy. That's looking good. So we're all fine and dandy. And all of this that's down here, which was where all that damage was, you know, here is where he broke out. Remember I said to you, it will be just in front of P3. You see, it didn't break out underneath P3. It broke out just in front, which is because he was so pushing down on the circumflex artery here, it was damaging all this tissue. So that's where it was, and that's all repairing now, and that's all just going to do its thing and grow out, and that's absolutely fine. It's just, I'm super thrilled. I'm really super thrilled. So let's just look at this I've had to rotate this image because he was off the block. So in fact, he was a little bit too parallel, ground parallel there, simply because he was just leaning off the block at the back. So I've straightened him up, and I've got heel to toe that's nice and balanced and straight there. So that will be, we can reflect that with the other image. Now look at this. Look at that. That's great. Again, that is derotation, guys. Away you go. So good. Well done. And that whole foot relaxing. Back of the foot. Just more foot for him to walk on. I mean, honestly, most vets would look at that and think that those angles are perfect, which they are. So, well done, Team Wex. You've done it. You've done it. Now we've just got to wait for it to grow out. Yes, well done, guys.